Nope is one of those films that poses some interesting kind of questions and has genuine moments of thought-provoking, but essentially accomplishes nothing by the end of it. Nope is just a film that, in my mind, just didn't accomplish what it was setting out to do. Had very interesting themes. I was very intrigued. I wanted to know more about these characters. I wanted to see what lessons would be learnt, but by the end of it, I didn't really feel like this movie had a lot to say. Like, Nope is just a clear example for me of a director just losing their way. The better and the more successful they get, the less creative they become. I get this vision that Jordan Peele just thinks now that he can do anything, which is fair. You know, after Get Out, it was very successful. I did like Get Out, but I just feel this film just reeks of overrated, overhyped. A lot of critics are just like, oh my God, it's perfect, it's perfect. And I don't see what they see. I will say this, Jordan Peele, I really appreciate that every film he's done is very different. Dealing with different themes, their stories are very different. I think that's also something that M. Night Shyamalan, while people shit on him and I'm not a huge fan of his work, I will admit that I do like that both him and M. Night Shyamalan are directors that always do different stories, which I think is one of the reasons why people were very intrigued to see what Jordan would do next. Even now, I could not predict what would be the next film, what it would even look like. So hopes were high going into this movie. You don't know what the hell Jordan's gonna do next, so it hypes you up to want to see what the next project is. Nope sets up thought-provoking themes about the dangers of pursuing fame and somewhat poses some interesting questions about how far you're willing to go to achieve what is a superficial dream. Fame and likes and followers. We see other people that have all that crap and we think to ourselves, that's what happiness and success means to me. I mean, even now as I do this video, what am I doing? I'm essentially chasing internet validation or whatever from YouTube. I'm just as guilty of it as every other Gen Z person. Once I saw these themes coming across in the movie, I was like, yes, this is definitely something relevant. This is something that needs to be discussed. This is something that I want to see explored. Every damn Gen Z person wants to get rich and famous without putting in any effort whatsoever, and you see that in some of the characters here. But then it does nothing with those ideas. It's a shame to have such a great setup and all these themes that are so contextually relevant to today's world and then not have it pay off at all. So one of the things I really didn't like about Nope that just wasn't gelling for me is the main character played by Daniel Kaluuya, who I loved in Get Out. He was amazing in Get Out. But I don't know, he's just like a grouch in this movie. This stoic grouch that I couldn't even understand his dialogue at points in the movie. He's usually the one that's giving all the exposition about the creature, all the most important facts are coming from him. But I don't know, I was having trouble understanding him at points, which was really freaking annoying in this kind of movie. These are the type of movies where you're looking for every little detail to piece together the puzzle. The rules for what works against the creature and how it interacts or reacts to people isn't explained very well. There's times where you just don't feel like the movie's following the rules it established, and it's frustrating. When I think of other films that this movie reminds me of, like Predator or Tremors, those movies set up very simple rules. You see the characters learn the rules, defeat the creature, all is well. And it's not too complicated, you can get it pretty clear. Most of the time they learn the rules from just observing the creature. But here, it just feels like sometimes the movie will just change the rules for the sake of it. I really didn't like that in the third act of the film, when they're kind of having their last stand against the creature, characters will do ridiculously stupid things in order to just extend the runtime of this movie. And this movie already goes for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it doesn't need to extend anything. I really wanted the movie to just wrap it up and end, which is a common complaint for me with modern movies. I even had to watch other videos and try and understand, and thank God other people felt the same way. I felt so validated by seeing other people say, I don't understand why this guy did that shit. That didn't make any sense to me. I think the sibling relationship between OJ and Emerald, played by Keke Palmer, is just annoying. I don't know. I thought Emerald would be there more so for the comedic relief of the film, but her jokes don't really hit the mark. She doesn't really listen to anything or anyone and just comes off annoying and self-centered, like most millennials. So I guess she kind of works in that sense. Her pursuit of fame seems to be the driving force of the movie, and you feel like it would have worked if she learnt her lesson by the end of the movie. But I don't feel she did. The other thing I really didn't like is there's a subplot in Nope that I felt went nowhere and was abandoned, despite having a real fair amount of screen time. Nope actually opens with the subplot. So you're thinking, if the movie's opening with this incident, it must be something super important to the central plot. But instead there's no connection at all. Once that subplot is done, it's never brought up ever again. It'd be like if you watched Breaking Bad, and you know when you watch the first episode of a season, they show you all these fragments of something. They're trying to get you to piece together where this is all going. By the end of the season, you get the full picture, but like a puzzle piece, you're getting little pieces at a time. Now imagine if in episode 3, they just decided for the rest of the season, we're not even gonna touch that stuff that we alluded to in the earlier episodes. We're just gonna abandon it and never bring it up again. That's what it would be like watching Nope. It full takes you out of the immersion of the movie as well, because you just keep thinking to yourself, is that coming back? Why did they bring that up? Why did I spend so much time watching that scene only for it all to be forgotten about? A lot of other people have mentioned that they did not like the way this was done, and I'm the same. I don't like a subplot just being abandoned. I like it when the subplot ties together somehow, or if it has the same themes of the central plot, it's got some kind of resolution, which sucks because I actually really like a lot of scenes from the subplot. In some ways, I actually was more interested in the subplot than I was in the actual main story. After doing more research, I found out why, or how it connects, but I still felt shortchanged. Get Out worked because it was so simple, but it was an exaggerated thriller that played off the fears of meeting the parents. Like, it took a concept that already existed from older movies, like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, that dealt with racism, and it was good because it took a problem that already exists and just exaggerated it. Turned it into a horror film. When I finished Get Out, I felt thoughts. I felt like this could be something to talk about. I wanted to talk about that. By the end of Nope, I had no thoughts about anything, except what the hell was that? Like, you don't care about anything. You don't kind of want to discuss anything about these characters. There's a clear opportunity to go further into the dangers of pursuing fame, but they just seem to not want to fully risk it, which is strange to me because I feel like Jordan Peele is someone that is a more risky kind of filmmaker and director. Bringing on the good, Brandon Perea was a standout in his scenes, providing some much needed fun and humor that Emerald wasn't really providing. Even though his character's a bit of a weirdo, like, it still works for me. He definitely stole the show for me. He was probably the most memorable performance in the whole movie. There was one particular sequence in Nope that I felt did such a great job of creeping me out and providing some of the best fake out moments. It's like they put like 3 or 4 fake outs on top of each other and somehow it just works. The way it hooked me in to believing all of those moments was so good. It reminds me of other movies where I say to myself, that's a great scene, even though the movie's kind of meh, but I'll always watch that scene. That was really well timed and very well edited. There were some definite suspenseful moments that were very well done, and Jordan really allows some time for the build-up of the tension and suspense to the point where when it ends, it's like, so satisfying. I love me some Keith David. Even if he's barely in the film, I always love seeing him on screen. Same with Michael Wincott. I haven't seen Michael Wincott in anything other than The Crow, but that dude has such an awesome voice and such a strong, screen presence. He can barely say 2 words, but your whole mind is so engaged and hooked on his every word. Even though I hated the abandonment of the subplot in Nope, I really did enjoy the scenes from it and felt they were some of the darkest and most brutal. Nope is not worth seeing. It's a very disappointing film that has a lot of great ideas, a lot of fun spectacle, but it doesn't really have a clear message or purpose. Some creative decisions were made in the final act that made it come across as safe and left me scratching my head with what the point of this movie was. Because on the one hand, you think it's this, but then when you see that third act, you're kind of like, was that the point? What does it matter? It wastes too much time on a subplot that goes nowhere, which drags out the film's runtime. By the last 15 minutes of this movie, I found myself just wanting it to end. I feel if someone else directed this, it would not get as much praise as it does. For some reason, people are reluctant to shit on Jordan Peele. I honestly think Peele is trying to be the new M. Night Shyamalan with this style and his movies. I don't get why you'd want to replicate a director that had one great movie and the rest were, eh. It's just more a case of Jordan Peele did really good with Get Out, and now we can never say anything bad about his movies. I don't care who you are, if you make a bad movie, it doesn't matter what came before it. I would say it's a bad movie. Some of the greatest directors in the world, Spielberg, Ridley Scott, they've all made their duds. I just don't like it when critics won't admit when a great director has made a dud or something that just isn't as good as their previous work. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Get Out. Oh, sorry. That's my thoughts on Nope. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought. If you liked this video, guys, then please give me a like and share and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And yeah, that is me.